Alright, y'all. Welcome to round 2 of our August Titanium Challenge here at TJ Collectibles. These boys are 1-0. They're at table 1. On your right, Joe Chagnon. Grinder extraordinaire. Let's take a look at Joe. There's Joe. Look at him. His red goodness. His bearded self. It's a good trim, Joe. I like that beard length. On the left, a different bearded fella. He actually wins the bearded fella competition, and he's too tall for this camera. That's Justin Martinez. Now, Justin is a guy I don't know as well as Joe. Joe I always see, and he's almost always playing Dredge lately. Before Dredge was a collected company deck, it was like a Malira combo deck. But lately he's been rocking the Dredge. It seems to be doing pretty well for him. He's usually at the top tables. Justin playing Eldrazi. Now, we see the players with their opening hands. Looks like Justin thinking about it. He says keep. Joe says keep. And we are off to the races. Justin Martinez with Eldrazi. He'll be on the play. He leads the Off Coast Go. No Noble Hierarch. Games with Noble Hierarch or an Eldrazi Temple are way different than games without. Faithless Looting for Joey. Discarding a Dredger and a Conflagrate. So, good start for Joe Chagnon. Pretty standard Eldrazi deck from Justin as he lays an Eldrazi Temple. Key card here. The flex spots, he has Matter Reshapers and Engineered Explosives. So that's going to be pretty good against Joe Chagnon, especially the Engineered Explosives. Be able to hold off the key turn for a little while. Joe's side of the board, also fairly stock list. He has 1 Haunted Dead and 1 Dark Blast. In general, there's not much you can do to really innovate with the Dredge deck. Unfortunately, it is what it is. You have to have the Neonates, the Narcomoebs, the Bloodghast, the Prized Amalgams. You have to have the Stinkies and the Thugs. You got to have the Loams, the Reunions, the Lootings, the Conflagrates. When all is said and done, you have about 2 spots in the deck you can mess with. Also the mana base, you can play a Gemstone Mine version, with blue in the sideboard, or you can play the Fetch Shock version, which is what Joe's going with here. Life from the Loam returns a pair of lands, fueling a potential Conflagrate. So, look at this. Justin goes from 2 lands, no board, to 3 lands, 5 drop. That's how good Eldrazi Temple is, and how different the games with and without it are. When you're playing Eldrazi, it's never a bad idea to mull for Eldrazi Temple. If you have a slow, mediocre hand without Temple, a 6-card hand with Temple is going to be so much better usually. Here we go. Conflagrate number 1. So X is going to equal 5. Going to take out the Smasher. And Joe will have 1 card left over to discard as the requisite ability on the Smasher. Now it looks like here's a Judge call. Local Judge Jeff on the case. Let's take a look at Jeff. There's Jeff. Oracle text on that foreign conflagrate. Justin says, darn. Doesn't work how I thought it was going to work. It doesn't come out in my favor. Bloodghast in for 2. So Joe does get 6 for 1, if you want to think of it like that. If you want to think of it in old school terms, in terms that are better suited to a limited game. It's not going to matter, though, because he wants his cards in the graveyard. And Life from the Loam will fuel any future conflagrates. But you know what? Joe not with the best draw. I mean, look at this. This is turn 3, and he only has 1 creature in play. He hasn't hit any Narcomoebas. He hasn't hit any prized amalgams. And he has no conflagrates left in the graveyard. But here's a Dark Blast Dredge. The one of showing its value here. Going to cut off the white mana of Justin while still dredging. Nothing huge for dredgers in the graveyard, though. Rather, Joe didn't hit any Narcomoebas, Amalgams, Bloodghasts, Haunted Dead. The payoff card. He didn't hit the payoff cards, what I'm saying. Bzz. And Loam is Joe's last card. That's pretty good. That's going to be good to fuel that conflagrate. So, Joe setting up a turn where he can conflagrate X equals 5 next turn if he has to. Taking out Thought Knot Seers. Taking out Displacers. Taking out Sky Spawners. Birds and Nobles. Really, the only things that he won't be able to kill next turn, Reality Smasher and Drowner of Hope. He will be able to clear out this Thought Knot Seer if he chooses to do that. Now, it's also important to note, Joe Chagnon only with 3 conflagrates in his deck, so, I mean, if he uses this conflagrate on a naked 4/4, then he just only has the 1 conflagrate, only access to the 1 conflagrate, and that could be a problem later. It could be in the bottom 10 cards of his deck. He could need more than 1 conflagrate if the game goes super late and he has to fight through multiple drowners or Displacer Drowner. He's definitely feeling the pressure now. I mean, he's using a lot of his resources, and he needs to kill Justin ASAP. He really needs to hit some payoff cards here. There's a Narcomoeba. There's a Bloodghast. There's an Amalgam. That is exactly what he needed. So Narcomoeba into play. Amalgam trigger. He'll get that at the end of the turn. Oh, and there wasn't a... Okay. There were 2 Amalgams. Three mana. Here comes the looting. Here comes the Loot Master. First Dredge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second Dredge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Thug and the Imp. To Joe's hand. So, Thought Knot blocks, but Bloodghast getting right back. Joe not going to blow his Conflagrate yet. He's going to save that for next turn. He's going to get a nice big... Oh, I'm lying to you. Look at this, I'm lying. He is going to blow the Conflagrate right now. X equals 2. Joe has no hand. And Thought Knot Seers leaves playability. Nets Joe Dredge. Pretty sweet. EOT, 2 Amalgams. Engineer Explosives could be okay here, but all it would be doing is buying time, and Justin's really constrained on mana. He has no way to directly deal with the graveyard in the first game. Joe untaps. Dredges the loam. Nothing of note goes to the yard, but then again, he doesn't really need anything else. I mean, he's well ahead as it is. In for 12. Now the Conflagrate is lethal, in addition to the creatures in Joe's battlefield, on Joe's battlefield, excuse me, also being lethal. Justin will draw, Justin will scoop. We will go to game 2 because there is no draw in the deck. That allows Justin to come back. Game 1 to Dredge. As it goes. That is usually what happens. No matter what format you're playing. So as the players go to their sideboard, I'm going to tell you what they're playing for. Real quick. These boys, sitting at 1-0 in this 7-round tournament, they are playing for, first of all, their share of the $1,600 prize pool. But second of all, an invitation to the Titanium Finals, which you must qualify for to be able to play this tournament. Invite only. Invites 24 of the best Modern players from this area, the players that win the monthly challenge events, as well as the players that come in first or second at the Titanium Plus weekends. The next of which is at the end of August, August 26th, 27th. That's going to be a good tournament. The details are still taking shape. Tom and myself are coming up with a format for that. And when we have it down, we will release it. You'll probably notice when we do. It's going to be on Facebook, as well as the stream for August, if it's ready by then, and the challenge events. So that's what they're playing for. $5,000 prize pool, split up among 24 players. Now, if you don't have your calculator on yet, that's about $200 a person added to the prize pool. So just for showing up, you're going to get $200 in EV. Of course, that could be higher, as the tournament winner is going to get a hell of a lot more than $200. But again, still taking shape exactly how the payout's going to work for that. Neither one of these players are qualified. I believe Joe Chagnon came close once. I want to say he lost in the top 4 of one of our earlier events. It might have been the top 8. Back then, he was playing an Abzan deck, a Malira combo deck. He looked to gain infinite life and then murder Shredcap people. Switched off that wasn't winning enough with that. He didn't go the Devoted Druid Vizier route. Instead, he changed decks completely. He says, okay, people are ready for small creatures. What if my small creatures come back from the graveyard as many times as I want? And he's been on Dredge ever since. After board, he gains access to a few cards. Cards like Thoughtseize if you want some. Lightning Axe, he'll definitely want Lightning Axe against the oversized Eldrazi. And I also expect him to bring in some Nature's Claim. At least one as a hedge in case the Bant Eldrazi players has Worship. Which he doesn't. But Joe can't know that. I expect him to bring at least one, maybe two. Justin on the other side of the board. He has no Worship. He has no Rest in Peace. As hard as that is to believe. No Rest in Peace. A mainstay of all white sideboards. Justin reacting to the lack of Dredge in the Northeast at these TJ's events. Dredge is usually a huge player in whatever metagame you go to, and here it's not. Strangely, because it's really good. And he cut his Rest in Peace. So he has an Echoing Truth, a Thrag Tusk, an Endbringer, an Elspeth, Sun's Champion, one Grafdigger's Cage. But this is a pretty bad sideboard against Dredge. He has his work cut out for him. Exactly the deck he didn't want to face. And he faced it. And that's Tournament Magic. So, players deciding mulligans. Justin looking at his hand like he doesn't like it, but does decide to keep. I mean, really, all you're looking for is Rest in Peace or Grafdigger's Cage against the Dredge deck. You see the playmats they're playing on? That one of those two will be given away today in store, TJ Collectibles, to the winner of this tournament. Only 12 or 14 of those will be given out the entire year, so as strange as it is to say that it's going to be one of the rarest playmats in the country. Maybe not the most valuable, but one of the rarest. You can't buy that one. So, getting back to the action, Joe Chagnon. Cast Cathartic Reunion. Discards Life from the Loam. Hits another Loam, but does not hit a third Dredger. He does, however, hit a Narcomoeba and a Prized Amalgam. So that'll happen. So 2-2 and 1-1 versus 1-1 and 3-3. And Joe's engine is already started. Justin clearly without a hate card. He might consider going back to the drawing board versus sideboard after this match. It is always demoralizing to lose to a graveyard deck when you pack no graveyard hate. Joe, I appreciate you keeping up with those life totals. You see local legend Dave Jennison trying to hide behind Joe there. There he is. There's Davey boy. He came close at a couple of these TJ's events, though he has not won one yet. He's going to try today. As are these two players. And look at this. Ancient Stirrings found the Grafdigger's Cage. That's very lucky from Justin Martinez, as he only had one copy of that card in his deck. We'll see if Joe Chagnon can find the Nature's Claim, if he did indeed board in the Nature's Claim. Of course, Graph Digger's Cage shuts off Ancient Grudge. That one won't work. Spells cannot be cast from graveyards, shuts off Snapcaster, Ancient Grudge, Lingering Souls. As well as saying creatures cannot enter play from the graveyard. So Narcomoebas, Prized Amalgams, Bloodghasts, Haunted Deads. These cannot work. And long gone are the days when the Dredge player could just hardcast a huge Golgari Grave Troll. Those days were over. Path hits an Amalgam, limiting Joe to hardcast threats, and finding an answer to that Graph Digger's Cage. Now, Justin Martinez, firmly in the driver's seat. How is he going to win this game? His opponent is hardcasting 1/2 Death Touchers. That's not usually hard to beat. Yeah, 5/5 trample is pretty good against 1/2s, even if they have Death Touch. Still gets in for 3 points. Oh, Justin's like, what? Death Touch? Who blocks with Stinkweed Imp? This isn't Ravnica Limited. Everybody's got to learn sometime about the terror that is Stinky. In for one. How cute, Joe Chagnon, trying to kill him with a 1/1 Narcomoeba. And Big Daddy Stinks comes back for more. He's ready to block any Thought Nazi or any Realities Map, any Drowner of Hope, any Sky Spawner, any Matter Reshaper. He'll block anything. Displacer comes down for Justin. That's a good one. That can blink the Sky Spawner permanently. Eldrazi Scion gets in for 2 damage thanks to the Exalted of Noble Hierarch. Joe drops to 10. Here's a Lightning Axe. Take out Displacer. Joe Chagnon still with a little bit of life. Still fighting. Displacer was the most dangerous card in the battlefield, and now it's gone. But Joe Chagnon forced to draw off the top of his deck. Not a good situation. He'd love a Conflagrate. That is the nut draw for him. And him fetching the 5th land signals that he might just have it. He might split 1 damage up among the Sky Spawner and the Hierarch and actually be ahead on board. But behind on life. We'll see. Wow, he's forced to get Stomping Ground. Seven life has Joe. And yeah, here it is. Conflict X is 2. 1 and 1. And all of a sudden, Justin Martinez with 1 card in hand and a couple of Eldrazi Scions. Or no, 1 Eldrazi Scion. Jeez. Oh, but look at this. Oh my god. Elspeth Sun's champion. That might be a scoop from Joe Chagnon. 3 1/1s. Ouch. You wish, Joe. You wish. Spells cannot be cast from graveyards. Life from the Loam. Gets back 3 lands that are not Sheltered Thicket. None of these lands in Joe's graveyard allow him to draw extra cards. They all just fuel a potential Conflagrate, but only if Joe can remove the Grafdiggers of Justin Martinez, who, by the way, has a hell of a poker face. Look at that. This man is unfazed. This man is currently crushing the game and is unfazed. The mark of a good player. He knows this match is far from over. He has to win a Game 3 on the draw against a hard matchup with only 1 Grafdigger's Cage in his deck. Elspeth makes more soldiers. Joe is at 4 life. He's dead on board. If he doesn't deploy another creature. And even if he does, I'm not sure what good's going to do him. And there's a scoop him up. Joe Chagnon is about to reach for his sideboard in 3, 2, 1. Joe, you're proving me wrong here, man. Come on. Grab the Nature's Claims. Put them in the deck. Joe, you need the Nature's Claims to beat the Grafdiggers, man. Little does he know there's only 1 of that. So if you've somehow stumbled onto this YouTube channel without knowing what's going on, these two are involved in a match of Magic cards that will determine who moves on to 2-0 in the August Titanium Challenge, the winner of which gets an invitation to the Titanium Finals. I'm Zach Hall, and I'll be covering all of these events. The in-store challenges and the Titanium Plus weekends, as well as the Titanium Finals early next year. That's going to be a fun tournament. Both these players fighting for that invite. If you don't know what the Titanium Series is, check out this YouTube channel. I have an explanation of what it is up on the page, complete with some very uplifting music. Thanks to Jeff Foster for the production of that. He did a great job. And if you're in the Northeast, come to one of these events. If you're near TJ's, come to this. This is like, the level of competition at these tournaments is higher than a PPTQ, for sure. Usually draw between 70 and 90 players at these tournaments. Less than 100 usually. Higher than a PPTQ. Less than an open event or a Grand Prix for sure. But that's what the Plus weekends are for. The Plus weekends are more like open events, more like regionals events. Those are far bigger. Those have a much bigger prize pool, many more players. They're at the DCU Center in Worcester, Mass. Next one is at the end of August. So, these players shuffled up for Game 3. Joe Chagnon, going to 6. Visiting Paris, visiting Vancouver, however you call it. Justin, for the 3rd time, keeps 7 cards. If I was Joe Chagnon, I'd be thinking, must be nice, man. Must be nice. Just have playable hands with the hate cards. That's what's going through Joe Chagnon's mind. Now, you and I at home know, as well as Justin, that he only has 1 Grafdigger's Cage. So it's unlikely he has it, but if I'm Joe, I'm thinking, man, he has a rest in peace for sure. He has a Grafdigger's Cage for sure. I need to find a Nature's Claim. An Ancient Grudge. Let's see if Joe can start with one of his best turn 1s. A Neonate or a Faithless, and he can't. Joe goes fetching. At the end of the turn, he's shortcutting a little bit. Ancient Stirrings finds Eldrazi Temple. Setting up a turn 2 Sky Spawner. Turn 3 Thought-Knot Seer, something like that. Now Joe's really going to take off. This main phase fetch indicates a Cathartic Reunion, or maybe a Life from the Loam to get him started. Cathartic Reunion, discarding some juiciness, is really what he wants. Let's see if he has it. He does. Look at this. Discard Stinkweed Imp and Prize. Now, if he hits a Dredger, which he does, we are off to the races. Aw, yeah. Dredge 3. He mills a Haunted Dead and one of the Nature's Claims. And that Life from Loam mills a Stinkweed Imp. This is perfect from Joe Chagnon. Now, this looks really lucky, right? It looks like, oh my god, Dredge, why play Dredge? You have to get lucky to win, but this is what Joe's deck does. I mean, look, he's playing 12 cards with the Dredge ability. It's not that lucky to hit a Dredge card. All Justin can muster is a Matter Reshaper. Joe dredges Dark Blast. He wants to have that instant in his hand, if he needs it. Life from the Loam. Gets back some land cards, fueling later Conflagrates, as well as bringing back Bloodghast. Life from the Loam, one of Joe's lowest Dredge cards. Only Dakmor Salvage has a lower Dredge value, but without Life from the Loam, this deck would not work. Conflagrate could not really be played profitably. X would equal 2 most of the time. And Bloodghast would not really come back. So here we go. 2 Bloodghasts into play, as well as the Prized Amalgam. Joe, with 7 power on the board and a full grip Conflagrate at the ready. And by the way, this is turn 3. Justin's not mana screwed. This is just turn 3. Here we go. Thought-Knot's here. Trigger on the stack. Lightning Axe will take out Thought-Knot. So, draw a card. Stinky gets dredged. Wow, 3 Conflagrates in the graveyard. Narcomoeba in play. Abrupt Decay in Joe's hand. He learned his lesson. He now knows he needs to have answers versus the Eldrazi Bant deck. What will Thought-Knot Seer take? Dark Blast or Abrupt Decay? And wow, Stinkweed Imp. Very surprising, as Joe has a backup copy. If I were Joe, I'd be happy about that. I'd still have my Rest in Peace answer in my hand. Life from Loam comes back. This will be a Conflagrate turn. For sure. Joe with a ton of cards in hand. And 8 power in play. Conflagrate number 1, gonna clear the blocker, deal a couple damage. Conflagrate number 2 will threaten to end the game. But to get to Conflagrate number 2, you gotta start with Conflagrate number 1. Only thing Joe's thinking, man, do I have to keep up mana for Abrupt Decay? Oh wow, this is surprising to me. Joe Chagnon just drawn 2. The only thing I can imagine is Joe wants to save these Conflagrates for something better. But if Justin rips the white source for Rest in Peace, that we know he can't do because he doesn't have it, Joe's only left with what he has in the battlefield. I would have considered cashing one of those Conflagrates in. Joe has other plans. Land drop brings back Bloodghast, with which brings back Amalgams. Huge army from Joe Chagnon. Justin needs to find something now. Joe representing more than lethal damage here. He'll have 5 cards in his hand after his draw phase. 7 cards in his hand if he wants to cash in a loam to Conflagrate X equals 7. Justin effectively at 6 life because of the Conflagrate. What can he do? Engineered. Gonna buy a little time. But only a little time. I mean, you gotta figure this Conflagrate will just finish off Justin. Justin resumes his baseline. Goes back to his poker face with the little eye roll. Justin falls to 6, and you have to... Oh, no, I lied. He'll stay at 9, maybe 8 after the Brushland trigger. So here we go. Loam brings back some lands. Does he have enough to conflagrate for lethal? Looks like it. X equals 8. All at your face. This game is over. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Damn. Disrupting Shoal. Disrupting Shoal. Removing Grows-Off. No. Handshake. Dredge stumbled a little, but came back with a vengeance, as it usually does. The one piece of hate, not usually enough to stop the Dredge deck. The one piece of hate has to get pretty lucky, draw itself in both games, 2 and 3, or get very lucky to win game 1. Neither one of those was the case, and Joe Chagnon moves to 2-0 in this August challenge. Thanks for joining us here at the YouTube channel. I'm coming to you from TJ Collectibles, as you see in the background there. Gonna end this video and go talk to some of the players. If I get some good footage, that'll be next in the playlist. Otherwise, it'll be round 3. So stay tuned, let this playlist continue rolling, and you'll hear my voice again soon.